I trained 8 hours a day for 6 months, every single day, including weekends. Whenever you guys think you're tired, trust me, you got another 8 hours in you. The reason I like Brazil to train is because it's part of the culture, where everybody has a gi in the back of their car. And it's kind of very fluid, like people do jiu-jitsu and then also they do kickboxing and also they might go capoeira on Sundays, like it's just sort of part of it. I was living in a house here with 5 people. I had a drip in the ceiling, I had a futon from IKEA with a sleeping bag on it.
Bro, I remember you, I'll be honest, you was broke, bro, I'll be honest.
You know what I'm saying? Because if nobody believes in you, it's actually quite easy to disappear.
Is Luffy ever gonna find the One Piece? First and foremost, you guys all know me as Daryl Nazareth Stad, you know, so I don't know you don't want to hear too much from me today, but it's a pleasure to have everybody here, the parents, the children, but more importantly, it's a pleasure to have a good friend of mine, Taz Skylar, come all the way here to come and talk to you about his acting and his experience in martial arts, and hopefully tell you a bit about his journey. So please, please give him a round of applause to thank you for his time.
I actually just came to tell you about how Sully and I met.
We'll get to that, we'll get to that. I think it's important, what I really wanted to do is ask him a few questions first, because I'm interested about his journey since. And then afterwards, you guys can ask him as many questions, not as many, but some questions, and then hopefully we can take a group photo and you guys can share it, and you know, and you've met someone that you've learned from, hopefully. And then, is he gonna show us some of his...
Yeah, we can train. Let's train together.
Yeah, and he's got a few training for you guys to take in, yeah? So I guess my first question for you, Taz, not Sanji today, Taz Skylar. I think I've known you for a while now, innit?
Yeah,
and one thing you've always known is that you've had a dream. You've wanted to be an actor.
Amongst other things.
Amongst many other things, jumping out of planes, and you know, I've seen everything you've done. But when did you know that's what you wanted to be, and what made you chase that?
So, I don't know. How many of you guys want to be actors, or? All right, a couple. I guess all I kind of wanted to maybe instill today amongst everyone is that if you know what you want, that's all you need to go do exactly that. Does that answer the question you made?
Yeah. It answers the question, because I remember when you started, you was in drama school, and you wanted to...
doing drama classes.
You was in drama classes, and you wanted to write a play.
Yeah.
And you believed in this play so much, and you didn't have money for it. And you called me and you said to me, I'm going to sell my car because I want to get money for this. And I said to you, bro, don't sell your car. This is crazy. You know what I mean? But you were so committed with everything to make that play happen.
Yeah.
And in the end, that play happened. You know, I remember do you remember when we was at Waterloo flyering for the play?
Bro.
And on the day of the play, we had the sold out capacity, both venues on both nights. You know what I'm saying?
Let me just give some context. So, all right. Because this was mainly the thing that I wanted to talk about today, was that I was a fan of Sully's since, I can't even remember, when was that video that you posted about education?
2012.
2012. I've been a fan of Sully since 2012.
I'm somebody as well, guys, you know.
Literally, I used to watch his videos in the morning to give me motivation. And I was in London once, and you don't even know this, I haven't even told you this story. I was in a chicken shop. And you walked into the chicken shop. It was a
healthy chicken. It was grilled chicken.
No, it was grilled chicken. Yeah, it was in East End.
Yeah.
And I saw you, and I remember thinking, that's the guy. That's the guy who I watch in that video that makes so much sense to me. And I was gonna go talk to you, and I didn't. And then I reached out. I found your website, and I reached out on the email, just saying I'd love to do something together. Yeah. I remember we made that video, first.
Yeah, it's in the archives.
Yeah, it's in the archives. We never did anything with it, but we just made the video and we met. And then I wrote a play about a very close friend of mine, and I wanted to put it on. And I sent Sully a message as a punt to see if he'd do the play. I thought there was no world in which he was gonna say yeah. And he came back and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And it was for like no money. As in, my point to this is that...
You still owe me, actually.
I still owe you, yeah, I still owe you. But the point was that there was no obvious reason at that moment in time to believe that was going to amount to absolutely anything. Other than, I don't even know why you did it.
I'll tell you
at
why
that point in time, go.
I'll tell you why, and it's important today because every day somebody messages me, they have an idea, they want to do a play, they want to make a movie, they want to make a music video. And 90% of the time, no one ever does it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my condition is always, if you can ever get to the hardest part, which is actually doing something, I'll help you the rest of the way. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was ever going to get to the play.
There was many times I didn't think either.
You know what I mean? And I said to myself, if he's going to get there, if he's got an idea and he's going to chase it, then it's only my responsibility to help him because he's believed in himself. You know what I mean?
And to that ilk, when we were trying to like sell tickets for the play, Sully's a grown man at this point. Like, how old are you?
Right now?
No, at that point.
Oh, I was still like 30.
He was 30 years old. He had 29. A baby.
Yeah.
And he would still come out onto the street and flyer with me, with a 20-year-old kid.
20-month-year-old kid, yeah.
No, with
with you. Oh,
with
yeah,
me, like, with a
kid,
20-year-old kid, and he'd still help me flyer everywhere. And it was that kind of made me not flinch. Because you know what I'm saying? Because if nobody believes in you, it's actually quite easy to disappear.
Yeah.
But as soon as that one person who you hold in high regard dedicates you energy to believe in you, you kind of feel like you can't back out. So actually, you putting energy into me thinking that I wasn't going to get to it was the thing that made me get to it.
No, I remember that clearly. My brother-in-law was here. He was here. Remember, he was flying with us as well, Linda's brother.
Yeah, it was a whole team. It was a whole team. Everyone joined in.
I want to ask you a question then, a bit before we go to martial arts. I want to ask, because I think a lot of people, did you ever think about giving up before?
Yeah. Like, it's. I don't know, how much do you guys watch YouTube? All right. Everyone watches YouTube, yeah? All right. How many of you guys watch like positive stuff on YouTube, like motivational stuff and stuff like that?
Other Sensei loves that stuff, doesn't he? Yeah.
Well, like if you've listened to it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't listened to it, you will at some point in your life. And it always sounds really poetic. It always sounds like, I'm gonna, do it even when I don't feel like it, and I'm gonna persevere, and that's just. It don't apply on a daily basis.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like on a daily basis, you're like, yeah, man, there's only so many times I can listen to this motivational video and actually still feel motivated. Do you know what I'm saying? Like most of the time it's long. Like when I was doing that play and I was gonna sell my car, I was living in a flat. I was living in a house here with 5 people.
In Wood Green.
In Wood Green. I had a drip in the ceiling that would drip into a bucket from when it rained. I had a futon from IKEA with a sleeping bag on it. Like you imagine.
Bro, I remember you. I'll be honest, you was broke, bro. I'll be honest.
I was so broke.
We used to have the play.
I was so broke.
We were rehearsing for the play, and you came with a bag of like 20 tomatoes. And I said, why have you just got a bag of tomatoes? And he was like, oh, I'm eating, that's what I'm eating. And he's just walking around with this bag of tomatoes. Like, everyone is
cherry tomatoes.
Yeah,
cherry tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes, just raw tomatoes. And and I thought, this guy's really going through it. Bro. Bro,
yeah. So like to answer the original question, like all the time I was sat there going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like I would laugh at myself in silence and just go like, this is so silly. You were so ridiculously deranged to think that any of this is possible. Yeah. But again, there was just kind of like always a reason to do a little bit more.
Yeah. That being said, let's talk about like, I think martial arts is something like when it comes to karate, it's something that is difficult, and sometimes the kids want to give up on that. But you're a black belt in Taekwondo.
Recently?
I was gonna say
when I met you, like 3 weeks ago.
When I met you, you wasn't. How hard was that to become a black belt, and how long did that take?
So it took 2 years. I trained 8 hours a day for 6 months.
8 hours a day.
8 hours a day.
You hear that? Nazareth trained 8 hours a day.
And people think I'm exaggerating when I say 8 hours. When I say 8 hours, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As in block of 2, have a break, eat a banana. Block of 2, have a break, eat a banana. Block of 2, have a break, take a nap maybe. Block of 2, then stretch. Wow. Like it's that. It's not. And sometimes it was 10.
Really?
And it was every single day, including weekends. So like whenever. And I say this in an aspirational way. I say this in like a positive way. Whenever you guys think you're tired, trust me, you got another 8 hours in you. Just eat another piece of fruit and keep going. If that's your goal. Not everybody necessarily has to do that. It's if it's not in your goals. But it was 8 hours a day for 6 months, and then on top of like the set hours, which would be 12 hours, I'd train 2 hours each end of that. So I'd train 2 hours before I went to set, 2 hours after set, and I had mats on set where I could keep training.
So you were training while you were filming?
I would finish filming, go out, and my trainer would be there with pads, and we'd just kick.
Sick.
And then we'd go back in for another setup, we'd keep shooting, I'd come back out, keep kicking.
Wow.
We'd stretch, we'd go to the sauna after. At one point, they tied belt, like I had white belt, I had my white belt and my yellow belt at one point, and they tied my white belt around my left leg, my yellow belt around my right leg, and they'd thread it through like some furniture, and they would pull either side just to
stretch your legs.
Stretch my legs out, because I couldn't get them past a certain point, so they just started pulling. Oh. Like we'd train, we'd warm up, and then they'd go again. Like they'd sit on me, they'd lean on me. It was ridiculous. And then when I finished that, I kept training for like 2-3 hours a day. I traveled around a bit. I trained in different countries. And then for my black belt, I did 3 weeks of 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening.
Wow.
Before we graded.
You hear that, guys?
Round of applause.
You've been all over the world, right? At this point, you've been to many parts of the
Most places,
world.
yeah.
What is the favorite part of the world that you've been to?
Yo, that's a good question, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Because it depends what am I, as in where would I like to live? Where would I like to go train? Where do I like the food more?
Where's your favorite place to train? Because you've been to what, Brazil, Japan, all over. Where's your favorite place to train? I saw you training with sumo wrestlers.
Yeah. Japan was lit.
Do you guys know what sumo wrestlers are? Yeah. They're like, well, how do you describe a sumo wrestler?
They're huge. They're like huge human beings. They look like giants. I'd say they're huge. I'd say they're large human beings. And they wrestle. I mean, that's how I define them. And they wear the sort of garment. But I'd say Brazil. Brazil is my favorite place to train because there's a real respect to, like when you guys put your belts on, and your is it karate? You don't say dobok in karate, do you? You say
Gi.
Is it gi?
Gi
in karate. Like when you put your gis on and your belts on, there's a real respect there to be had for that uniform and this space. Like when you bow, I know sometimes it can feel like kind of like, why am I bowing? But just to have a respect for something that is larger than you is a really useful thing to have in your life. And that's the reason I like Brazil to train, is because it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody has a gi in the back of their car because they all go train after.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's kind of very fluid. Like people do jiu-jitsu and then also they do kickboxing and also they might go capoeira on Sundays. Like it's just sort of part of it. Yeah. And it's not really a thing that they have to make time for. It's just embedded into their structure.
Yeah. It's like jogging over here. Like.
Exactly. Or like going to the gym.
Yeah.
It's just, they just train.
Yeah. Okay, I guess one question, because I can hear the kids getting impatient. I guess my last question, before we let them ask their questions, is Luffy ever going to find a One Piece?
I'm not the right person to ask.
Okay, guys, I'm finished now. Please give Taz a round of applause and get your questions ready. Right.
You've done it. Did you wear a wig for it, or did you?
Yes, it was a wig. You have to wear a lot of wigs when you're an actor.
When is season 2 coming, guys?
I honestly
You
don't
won't
know.
know.
I know we're going to film it some point next year and it will come out some point after that.
Does the wigs always come off your head and you have to keep on getting them up again? 'Cause I mean, like,
Oh, does it fall off? You mean like does it?
Yeah, if it falls
No.
on your face, you can't see.
So we spend like an hour and a half in the chair every morning when we get there, and they took a mold of my head and they made the wig to fit it exactly. So when they put it on, they can stick the seam all the way around.
How do you get it off?
Then they have to go around with like glue. It's like this glue melting thing, and they have to melt the glue off all my hairline.
How long does that take?
It takes like an hour and a half to like rig it on, and then easily an hour to de-rig it. Again, I wish I could tell you, buddy.
None of us
I don't
know
know.
the answer.
Can I have like 2 autographs, please?
I make you a deal. If you become a comedian, you can have 7. I was good. Yeah, buddy, of course.
How long have you been acting for?
6 years.
Can I ask just a follow-up?
Please.
How old are you?
27.
How do you make anime?
You mean how do you draw it?
How do you make,
Anime.
The anime gets drawn.
Yeah, anime is drawn. So
Not by me. I have
he
nothing
doesn't
to do
draw.
with
Yeah,
the
he's gonna have to do
drawing of it.
anime. Anime is kind of like you have a production studio. So making anime is like making a film, except for it's like you'd have lots of artists, and then they'll use a computer to bring it together.
how did you get your black belt?
That's a very good question. Do you want a black belt? How? What belt are you on now? You're on yellow? All right. You gonna make a deal with me that you're definitely gonna get your black belt? Yeah. There's like I don't know how it works, and actually I'm probably not the best person to answer that question. You should probably ask your sensei how you get your black belt because mine was probably different than yours. But essentially, after you've trained for long enough and your sensei decides that it's time to let you test for it, you go and do a very long, very hard test. And if you pass your test, you get your black belt.
Hard
How long
work.
is the test to get your black belt?
I must have been there for like 5 hours.
Oh, I'm so not getting it.
Oscar, did
You
you ask a
are, aren't you,
question?
buddy?
How do your black belt look like?
What does a black belt look like?
Your black
Oh,
belt.
mine? Mine's over there. It just looks basic and black.
Do you want to bring it? So does someone want to grab it?
Yeah. There's not much else to it. So I had a different black belt a few weeks ago that got signed by Ichiro Oda, who draws the animes, and so I've framed it.
You met him?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I went for dinner at his house.
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, yeah,
still.
we'll yeah. But so he signed my black belt, so I framed that black belt. So now I just have another basic black belt. So my new special black belt arrives with my name on it. Why is it so small? Well, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but you guys tie your belt twice, don't you? Or is it just one loop?
Well, round the waist twice, yeah. Yeah, it goes round twice, yeah.
So one difference between like Taekwondo culture and karate culture is Taekwondo only goes round once, and it's symbolic. Like Taekwondo has a few things in its symbolism, which is loyalty to one master, pursuit of one singular goal, and one strike being sufficient to end a conflict. So that's why we only tie it once.
Since you are Sanji and Sanji kicks a lot, did they choose you to be an actor of Sanji because you use your Taekwondo?
I learned Taekwondo to be Sanji. I had no idea how to do Taekwondo before Sanji. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Can I get like a personal picture like on my phone?
No. Listen.
The main thing I want to do today, so for me, the respect of a dojo is a very important thing. And a dojo is not a place to just come do a photo op. So for me, it's really important that we train together today.
And then when you train,
We'll take a group picture for sure, but I don't want to spend the few hours
Time we
or
have.
hour that we're
Yeah.
going to have together just taking pictures and not getting any training done.
Yeah,
Because I don't think
100%.
that that's worth anybody's time.
100%.
So how about we do that? Let's
Yeah.
train?
Yeah, good question.
How many days you spend karate?
0. This is my first day doing karate.
It's first day.
Taekwondo, which is another martial art.
All right, should we do it?
Yeah, okay, guys, please give them a round of applause, and we're now going to get some training done.